I went back to the gym. I promised myself I wouldn't go back to the gym without the use of steroids. I'm an advocate of steroid use in general, even though I've never done it myself because I'm a coward. I don't like needles. That's one. You know, it's hard to have 24-inch biceps and then cower when somebody comes at you with a needle. This type of thing. And the other thing is too, when you start doing steroids, you gotta give blood on a regular basis, because for some reason your red blood cell count goes through the roof. Like, everything gets better. Even the cells that repair your body. You have such a flood of red blood cells that you have to give them away. So I don't know, man. Aren't they supposed to poke you in the ass with a steroid needle? I don't even have an ass. My luck, the guy will stab the needle right into my sciatic nerve. And then I won't be able to sit on a toilet seat anymore. You ever hear these people that have sciatica? They can't sit on a toilet seat? I said, holy Krishna, what a nightmare. How do you take a shit? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Can you believe I've been back to the gym 5 times? Each and every time I went back to the gym, I hurt my back. So, I'm done. Just like that. I started, now I'm done. Thank you. I'd like to praise the Lord for giving me this, for giving me a spinal cord made out of graham cracker crumbs. Anyway. I had my mother-in-law over for dinner last night. Of course I gotta pick her up. You understand? I'm listening to Dio in the car. I'm on a Dio tear. I'm listening to Rainbow. I'm listening to Dio. I'm listening to Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath. I'm listening to the Mob Rules. Anything Dio, that's what I listen to these days. And then you can put me in a casket. I'm done. I mean, we're talking about the Man on the Silver Mountain. I can't get enough. I'm telling you right now, I've said it before. I don't care, I'm saying it again. Dio Holy Diver album is like, it's gotta be the greatest heavy metal album of all time. It's just gotta be. And you know what burns my ass? Is the first song on the fucking album sucks. I'm sorry. What is it? I Want to Rock? No, that's Dee Snider. What's the name of the song? We're Gonna Rock or something? I hate that song. The rest of the album is pure gold. There is not a miss on the album except for that first fucking song. To me, it's so corny and cheesy. And can we take our fucking hats off for Vinny Appice? I know you got drummers on YouTube now. They're playing, double bass with their feet and they're doing rolls with their dickhead. I don't care. Vinny Appice is one of my favorite drummers right now. This guy has such an awesome style of drumming. I love how he does like these collapsing rolls. They like collapse and then they come back like these fills that I don't know how to explain it. It's like a building falling down and then it's re-erected. Can I have coffee for crying out loud? I'm losing my mind over here. And then Vivian Campbell. I'm going to say Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Vivian Campbell. All right, take your Randy Rhoads and stick it up your ass. I know you guys get hard for Randy Rhoads. I don't know. Maybe it's because I heard Crazy Train too much in my life. It's another fucking song that the radio ruined. Can you believe it? Imagine if you never heard Crazy Train before. Just imagine it. Stairway to Heaven. or Hotel California. Imagine if it was like a B-side and you just caught wind of it. You're like, how awesome would that be? Oh, then all the hipsters would come out of the woodwork. Oh, they love it. They love it with their scarf on and their glasses in June. I know this wonderful song by the Eagles. It's called Hotel California. Nobody's ever heard of it. Oh, they love shit that nobody's ever heard of. This is hipster. These are hipsters for you. They gotta drink a beer you never heard of. They gotta listen to music you never heard of. They gotta wear clothes you never heard of before. It's wax in the mustache, because that's necessary. Or it's everything from the 1920s. Yeah, why don't you go through the Great Depression and hang yourself? Are these hipsters still around? They should be eradicated. There's certain things I need to do. I gotta become president of the United States. It's gotta happen. I'll hunt down every single hipster. We'll get them out of here. I've had it already. They're living in a pencil factory in Brooklyn, doing some kind of a Guy Shubang artwork. The experience I've had with hipsters over the years, I'm telling you, I'm putting my foot down. I was at a bar once in Brooklyn. Stay out of Brooklyn. Number one. You get around these... This is where it's like a hive for these hipsters. I was at a bar. You know, it's got to be... It's got to be a dive bar, man. We're going to a dive bar. We're so hip. And I'm waiting online to go to the fucking bathroom. And I got this guy in front of me. And I'm like, hey, let me shoot the breeze. You know what I mean? I'm that annoying asshole. Back then, I was that annoying asshole. Okay, I don't do that anymore. So just you know, if you're taking notes. I don't like to bother anybody. I don't like to be bothered anymore. I see this guy and like, oh, you live out here? Bip bap. Yeah, you know, this, that, the other thing. I say, oh yeah. I say, I work on the island. I said, what do you do out here? He's like, oh, he goes, I hang paintings. I said, oh yeah? I said, what do you do? Put a nail in the wall? He goes, I hang $1 million paintings. I said, okay, you put 2 nails in the wall? He got all fucking, he turned around on me. Like, and ignored me. Like, with his face up in the air. You know what? Fuck them all, big and small. That's what I say. Nobody's, did you notice, especially lately, nobody's got a fucking sense of humor? Everybody's walking around with a stick up their ass. Oh. Man, it's a hell of a coffee. I don't know. Like I said, I'm listening to Dio. Then I pick up my mother-in-law, and she doesn't speak English. I don't speak Spanish. So the extent of our conversation is, hello, hola. And then we're like this, and then she's like this in the car, like staring straight out the window. And I'm like, hey, you want to listen to the Man on the Silver Mountain? So it's absolutely, I gotta admit, it's a little awkward on the ride. And it's like, you know how you do things? Like, you know, you're driving. And you're like, oh, let me adjust the volume on the radio. And you go to adjust it, and she's like does something with her face. Like, you make a movement, and then they make a movement, and they get startled. This is like the car ride from hell, if I'm here to tell you. Anyway, she's the sweetest woman on planet Earth. I wish I could communicate with her. I actually thought about learning Dominican for about 5 seconds of my life. I started listening to like audio tapes. They're not audio tapes. I was listening to YouTube videos. And they were like, you know, school is escuela. And where is donde? I'm like, this is not how you learn a language. I'm sorry. There's got to be a better way. Because by the third word, I was like staring off out the window, like, oh yeah, look at that building, and yeah, look at the brickwork. Anyway, we get home. My wife's making tacos. You know what I'm saying? Get my mother a ginger ale. I'm like, hey, ginger ale's all around. I'm a soda drinker now. You didn't know? Yeah, I know. You open up you know what's opening up a can of soda in your house now is like pulling out a cigarette. Like, where do we live in LA? When did the East Coast get so health conscious? I'm like, everybody's like, I know. It's a fucking soda, man. Relax. I'm not gonna die instantly. I wish I would. We're starting to eat dinner, and I crack open the soda, and my wife. How much soda are you going to have? And I'm like, I don't know, 140 cc's? I don't know. I got a cup full of crushed ice. My mother doesn't want to open her can. I said, listen, the sweet old lady, she doesn't want to open her can of soda. She figures we'll split the can of soda. At her age, all right? She shit out 12 kids, and she's worried about opening up another, bless her heart, about opening up another can of soda because she doesn't want to put the burden of 25 cents on the family. I said, you're in my house now. Open the soda. Open the soda. Now my wife's fighting with me. We don't want to waste the soda. I said, listen, we're not destitute. Believe it or not. We are destitute, but we're not destitute. We can absorb the 25 cents somehow, some way. I'm like, you know what? I wanted to be in Motley Crue. Yeah, you understand? I wanted to be with Poison. Remember Poison? The band? Remember how they had that party house in LA? They weren't worried about splitting sodas. I said, this woman's 85 years old. When I'm 85 years old, I'm going to open an entire case of soda, dump 23 of them into the sink, and then drink one. I'm sick and tired of it already. We're over here conserving ginger ale. So now I'm like measuring out my soda. I'm all stressed out. I just want to enjoy my food and my soda. Holy hell on earth. I don't know. I went to Chipotle the other night. My wife takes off to her mother's with my son. Okay? I'm by myself. This is like awesome. Number one. And I'm like, I'm going to Chipotle. You know, you want to know how pathetic I am? I get dressed up to go to Chipotle. You ever go to Chipotle now? You go in there, there's women in like their pajamas. Like, women don't get dressed up anymore. We're living in the anti-sex age, where like women and men don't talk anymore, and women dress like that, like they're living in the streets. To be honest with you, they got sweatpants on, they're hanging down to the floor, slippers, these kind of slippers, I don't know, and these big. They're wearing sweatshirts like they're Sam Sulek at the gym. I say, okay, there's no body or shape or form to be looked at. Everybody's asexual these days. Like, I don't think anybody has sex anymore. So anyway, I'm all dressed up. I look like fucking an idiot. I look like, you know what? I look like the old man from Caddyshack. Coming in there, hey, how about a burrito? And now I come up, I ain't gonna lie to you, everybody behind the counter is black and Spanish, all right? So it's basically like they see Donald Trump walking up. And here I am in like a sweater vest. Hey, can I get a burrito? And the guy's like, yeah, hold on 1 second. He goes into the bathroom with my burrito. I don't blame him. He wipes his ass. I don't know, probably dumps 3 loads on top of it. There you go. No, I mean, this is the thing. And then I wind up getting like, I get a shot glass full of rice, but I don't put up with it anymore. I don't. I say, oh, can I get a little more rice? I never have to come here again. If you're going to give me that amount of rice, I'm never coming back here again, so I might as well be an asshole. I mean, come on, man. You're going to charge. I walk out of there. I got a burrito and a soda. It's like $30. Fuck me standing. Anyhow, one of my favorite things in life is when I'm sitting in I'm sitting in the Maverick. That's the other thing. I have a panic attack because, the Maverick's brand new. And if one black bean falls between the seats, I got to jump out. I got to grab my little dust buster. What happened to the dust buster? Anybody? Guys, in the 80s and the 90s, we had an invention called the dust buster. You know what the dust buster could be now with the advent of brushless motors and lithium-ion batteries? The dust buster was full of nickel-cadmium rechargeable batteries. Okay, the dustbuster would be able to suck a fucking golf ball through a garden hose these days. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I had a manager. You ever have a manager that tries to be cool and it just creeps you out? When I was younger, I had a manager who came up to me. We were talking about, me and a guy at work were talking about this girl at work or whatnot. And he comes out and he's like, you're talking about Jenny? He's like, I heard she could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch. And I was like, ooh. It's like, that was creepy. Number one, we've all heard it before, right? So it's not, if the first guy that said, I heard she can suck the chrome off a trailer hitch, that was a really good one. And obviously, because it's spread throughout the country. So like everybody knows that one. Or sucking a golf ball through a garden hose. The guy that originally came up with that is a genius, by the way. And he's probably just a regular guy. So, you got to come up with a new one. I don't know. Suck the mercury out of a thermometer? Anybody? No? All right, we'll move on. But I mean, this is the type of thing. And I remember he said that. I was like, ew. That's like creepy. And he was like, I'm so cool, right? I'm so cool. I'm like, no, you're not. And you never will be, as a matter of fact. Guys, what are we doing here today? You got nothing better to do? Huh? You don't want to take your kid to go get school supplies? I love this. My wife, I know, the beginning of school, it happened months ago. You're wondering to yourself, why is this idiot talking about school supplies and we're in the middle of December? It's probably Christmas time now. That's because I'm lazy and I don't edit my videos on time, okay? I love people. Now I'm going to get the comments. Well, YouTube really got to him. Canned material. I don't know. Here's another thing. I said school supplies. What happened to Amazon? They closed their doors or something? I order everything from Amazon right now. I don't want to come out of my house. I want to get on the road with you maniacs. You get on the road with all these drugged out maniacs out here? Number one, everybody's smoking pot on the road. I have news for you. I've smoked pot before. Yeah. And the one thing I can't do, listen, I can drink until I'm almost blacked out drunk and drive a car. I know you don't like to hear that. And I don't do that. Okay? But it's the truth. I can drive like even better. I mean, burnouts all the way down the block. Listen, one time I went out to the bar, all right? And I had my Dodge pickup truck, all right? 318, 5-speed, 2005 Dodge pickup truck. Black, triple black interior, black, black everything. Everything's black. And I I went out to the bar, had a couple of drinks, you know what I'm saying? I said, I'll take the back roads home, all right? Sue me. And I think I did a burnout all the way home. I said, oh, I must be kind of drunk. I took the back roads, all right? If your kid's on a three-wheeler at 1:30 in the morning, okay, in the road, he deserves to get hit. All right, so keep him inside. Anyhow. Yeah, school supply. That's the other thing. I'm walking my dog, and I got to get berated by the old man. Yeah, he comes at me with the arm like this. I said, I don't know what happened. Does he got a stick going from here to here? Listen, when you get old, I realize he's got to be in his 90s. God bless him. He walks the dog every fucking day. This is what you have to look forward to when you're 90. You're walking a dog every day. I'm all about it. I'm going to do the same thing. To hell if I'm working. I have this thing about retiring at 55. And it's a pipe dream, I know. But I just want to retire at 55. That was the American dream. That's right. That for some reason, that's all it turned into was a dream. It can't become reality anymore. It was like, you have a home, a car, and you retire at 55. Now all of a sudden, retirement's 70 years old. When the fuck did that happen? This is like one of the things that irritates me the most is pushing back retirement age. I was like, at that point, we should just have a revolution in this country. And just burn everything to the ground. The idea of working into your 70s is one of the most depressing things. And I know people that are doing it later than that. I used to work with a guy. His name was Old Man Pete. All right? God love him. We never knew his age. I swear he was 85 when he died. Smoked cigarettes every day. He had hands. This guy had hands. I've never seen hands like this before. He would walk and his hands had like their own like inertia. And his hands would go like this as he would walk. And he was all hunched over because he's an old man. And he would walk like this. And I love when he would come in on his days off to shop because he'd have his hair, like he'd put like the Vitalis in the hair. And he'd comb it like the old school, like in the 50s. Full head of hair, God bless him. All right? I put Vitalis in my hair. My hair gets all stringy. And like, I look like an alcoholic dope head. But this guy had like the 50s hair still. And he'd come in with those hands swinging. And he used to smoke Winston's. All right? Because Winston's taste good like a cigarette should. That's right. And Old Man Pete, I catch him out on the bench, and my favorite thing to do was to ask him about his old cars. What did you drive? Oh, 1921 Model A. What are you kidding me? This was like his first car. And he used to be a bit of a gangster. You know what? He worked for the Castellano family, shot a Puerto Rican guy in the knee, collected money. The guy stabbed him in the eye. He shot him in the knee. I said, hey, that's an even exchange. That's it. He still had the mark in his eye where he got stabbed. Imagine getting stabbed in the eye. Ouch. Ouch. That's when I just roll on the floor and die. Like, I wouldn't even be able to run away from that. I'd be like, ah, my eye, no! And then I'd sit there and get stabbed to death. Anyway, we had men like this. And his hands were absolutely ridiculous. You'd shake his hands. It's like, what am I holding on to, a bushel of bananas? And he was a collector. And he used to tell me how he used to work out. And they would drink quarts of beer. I said, number one, this guy's old school. He said quart of beer. You go over to England, they're still hollering about a pint of beer. Right? I says, who says a pint? It's a fucking can of beer. You want to come to my front lawn? This guy said a quart of beer. I said, what, are you fucking drinking milk over here? What, are you drinking beer out of a milk container? And he used to work out. I said, can you imagine like the old-time dumbbells? Where they were like round balls on either end. They're like, all right, you ready to do lifts? And they do that one lift like this. The Eugene Sandow? Yeah, well, weight training. Let me tell you something. You don't think they knew how to weight train back then? They did. They did. Better than they do now. Those old-time strongmen, they would come here, they would take Sam Sulik and bend him over. I don't know why I talk about Sam Sulik. Like this guy, you ever see this guy? He's basically like a steroided out guy on TikTok. And he's up to like 260 now. He's on a bulk. I don't even follow the guy, but they keep on sending me things. I like watching it. I don't hate the guy, but I don't understand when I go to the comments. They're like, he's the biggest. He's so big. He's so big. He's so big. I was like, you ever seen Lee Priest in his prime? You ever see Lee Priest? I think people forget about Lee Priest. Lee Priest was a solid, I don't know, I think he had the greatest physique of all time. I mean, you could take Arnold and flush him down the toilet. Compared to Lee Priest. He had the best guns ever, as far as I'm concerned. Best guns in the business. He used to have to fucking tie a pencil to his toothbrush to brush his teeth. Do you understand? I'm talking Lee Priest here, buddies. We're talking Lee Priest, and I don't know what else we're talking about. I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, that brings us to today, where we're going to do something a little different. I know. I'm subscribing. Guys, I want to talk about something. We're going to talk about the old school days because they knew a lot. A lot more than we know now. And it's going to bring us to what we have right here. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we did is we made an egregious purchase. I couldn't help myself. I'm cruising Facebook Marketplace. I wish I could block it, the website. I can't do it, though. Somebody needs to, I don't know, kick down my door, hold me down, put me in a figure 4, and then erase Facebook Marketplace off my phone. Because I can't stop buying stupid shit. I'm on my break at work with my partner. He's trying to talk to me about baseball cards, and my eyes are glazing over. I can't talk about baseball cards anymore. So I'm sitting there yesing him to death as I'm cruising Facebook Marketplace, and to my eyes' astonishment, I see a speaker box. And I'm like, huh. And I zoom in on the picture, and the speakers have a grill. Remember the old school grills that speaker box used to have? They were metal. They almost completely abstracted the speaker itself. We don't put grills on speakers anymore, but we used to be worried about kicking them in or denting them in and all this. So we used to put these big heavy metal grills on top of a speaker. So the picture was a little fuzzy, and I zoom in on the grill and I see the cone of the speaker, and I say, it can't be. It can't be. The venerable Rockford Fosgate, the Punch. Not Punch, the Punch. And I know this symbol because it's ingrained in my head. Guys, when I first started getting into speakers, we're going to say 91, 92. Okay? And I would go over my friend's house, Joey. I won't say his last name. I don't know why. Who the fuck cares? Anyhow. Joey had this speaker. It was an 8-inch Rockford Fosgate, the Punch. Okay, the Punch was the first series of Rockford Fosgate speakers. And it was 8-inch, and it was in this homemade box that his father built. And we put it in his corner of his room, and we turned it up, and it would rattle. And I'm not exaggerating, it would rattle the whole house. The whole house. The sliding glass door in the back, the windows, the blinds, the whole house. And what we would do is we would set the box in the corner, aimed into the corner, and then we would go to the opposite corner of the room on the bed, and feel the bass. Say. Feel the bass. Bass. Remember the bass tapes? But no, we would listen into the Ghetto Boys. Remember that song? Do 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 do. And that was the song we would listen to, and it on tape or cassette tape, of course. And we were just astounded. Guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. Nikola Tesla knew, and this is where things become very astounding. The power of frequency, the healing power of frequency, the healing power of bass. This was a thing. And I used to wonder to myself as a kid, why am I so infatuated with this sound, with this feeling? It's vibrating my insides. Why am I so compelled to get to that feeling through speakers? And I got obsessed with speakers. We would go to Busy Bee Mall. It's a thing around here in Long Island. Nobody else knows Busy Bee Mall, but around here we had Busy Bee Mall, which was a flea market. And you would go in and there would be various vendors, and they were semi-permanent. These guys would stick around for a while. Sometimes the vendors would switch out and whatnot, and you'd go in there and they had the heavy metal shop, you know, where you could go in there and get an Iron Maiden t-shirt, and the guy would what t-shirt do you want? He had a book, and you open it up and it was all the designs, and he would do an iron-on for you. And I can remember going to Busy Bee Mall and getting World Slavery Tour, ironed onto my shirt. It was like a thing, but it was like a glossy vinyl iron-on. And he would give it to you, and I remember the smell of it. Okay, it was like, who designed this machine? Chemical Ali? These are like pure hydrocarbons going up your nose. The vinyl, the hot vinyl. And I remember those would tear after a while. They would tear and peel. But I got World Slavery Tour, and I remember I got Number of the Beast. Okay, guys, I was in the 4th grade. How old? I was my son's age. I was 8 years old. I was a big Iron Maiden fan back in the day, man. Legit. But he also had the bootleg tapes, so you'd go in there and it would be Led Zeppelin, Royal Albert Hall, 1971, or, Madison Square Garden, all the different Led Zeppelin, Madison Square Garden. It's like, oh shit, they didn't just do Song Remains the Same. It was like all these different tapes, and it was Kiss, bootleg Kiss tapes. And, it was just a treasure trove. And, and I remember the bootleg tapes were like, whoa, because of course, everybody saw the episode of What's Happening when Rerun went to the Doobie Brothers concert and the tape recorder fell out of the fat bastard's overalls. Right, the Doobie Brothers are playing and Rerun's dancing, and they sent them there with a tape recorder to record the show. And as he's like dancing around, the tape recorder falls out. And I love it how the band's like, hey guys, stop. And then all of a sudden, the lead singer of the Doobie Brothers is going to do a PSA on why it's a bad thing to record, to bootleg somebody's music. Meanwhile, he's sitting there with a needle hanging out of his arm. I said, okay, Doobie Brothers. They were on the down slope of their career. They're on What's Happening. So it's like, wow, bootleg tapes. That's right. And then you go into the corner, and there were 3 shops in there, okay, that would sell speakers. And they were Arabs. That's all we knew. They were Middle Eastern people, but we're young kids. They're Arabs. So we would go there, and one guy, he wouldn't budge on the price, so nobody went there. And he had like crummy speakers like Pile and Lanzar and Crunch. I don't know if you guys remember these. And there was another guy there. He was too expensive. But there was one guy in the back corner, and this guy would wheel and deal, and he had the biggest. He started off with one booth, and because he sold so many speakers, he opened up another booth, so his booth got bigger. And there you would see it, all the carpeted boxes. You guys remember? You understand? JBL GT series. Am I here to tell you? Bazooka tubes, carpeted bazooka tubes. And I remember all the shit speakers of the era. It was Pile and Pyramid. Remember Pyramid speakers? Guys, this stuff is like great stuff. But then he'd have like the MTX, Rockford Fosgate, all this stuff, the amplifiers of the time. And my whole thing is I was always a JBL guy, so, that was my thing. I always loved the JBL GT series. GT series amps and GT series speakers. And I worked my way up to from a pair of 12s up to a pair of 15s on a JBL GT400. And I remember blowing the amplifier because, believe it or not, the JBL GT series amplifiers weren't very reliable. And I remember taking it to a guy who basically ripped me off for the cost of the amplifier to repair it. I remember the money I used to sink into this shit, and I didn't have money. I didn't have any fucking money. I was making $4.10 an hour in a bakery. And to buy a speaker was like, it was $80 for one. So you do the fucking math on that one. And to buy an amplifier was $200-$300. So again, do the fucking math. $4.10 an hour. I mean, to keep in mind, I was working, I was at home. I didn't have any bills, but I'd save my money, man. I'd mow those fucking lawns. You have no idea. What are we doing? Delivering newspapers? At that point, I wasn't doing that anymore. So anyway, this brings me to when we got involved in car audio, there was always King Cock on the block. And King Cock on the block was this kid named Todd. He was a good friend of mine when we were younger. And you know how you kind of drift apart? We were like best friends when we were younger. And then you kind of drift apart. And, Todd was more of just like an acquaintance when I became a teenager. I started getting into car audio and started to get my car and whatnot. Say hi and whatnot. And I remember he had a Ram Charger. I don't know, 87 Ram Charger. Big silver Ram Charger, you know what I'm saying? This is a badass motherfucking truck. Good old fucking, it was like a Bronco, like a full-size Bronco, full-size Blazer. Dodge had the Ram Charger. It's a good old fucking tough truck. And Todd's truck was, his parents did well. So it was a nice Ram Charger. And I remember he came down the block one day, and I swear I heard him coming from a mile away. I said, what the fuck is going on here? And I mean, by the time he got home, he had a crowd of people around his truck. And we were all looking inside, and there it was. It was the Rockford Fosgate. I'll never forget it. The Rockford Fosgate 15s in that box. And on the box, it was a light gray carpet. When everybody else's carpet was charcoal gray, this was a light gray carpet. And on the top, it said, the box that rocks. And hooked to the back of that box was a fucking Alphasonic Zeus amplifier. The venerable Zeus. All right, the block-busting Zeus amplifier. Okay, that cemented Rockford Fosgate and that Zeus amp were just like incredible. 15-inch Rockford Fosgate punches. And that's it. This guy was the king. And can you believe he had this truck as a senior in high school? So we would be in math class, and this truck would come in, and, Todd was like, he wasn't a stranger to cutting class. So you'd be sitting there doing algebra, and it would be like, you'd hear fucking Snoop Doggy Dogg. Okay? Rolling in my 6'4". With the motherfucker saying, stay inside, sweet cherry side, and let me ride. Zip, boing, boom, and the zing, bang, crash, and let me ride. It's the motherfucking DRE, yeah! And you say, I'm in this class, and this guy's out there getting high, because let's face it, the truck would open and the fucking pot smoke would come rolling out. And I'm the fucking moron in here doing math. It makes you want to take your books and throw them right out the fucking window. So there was something to it. There was something to it. You'd feel it in your body, the bass. It felt good. It felt good. Guys, these are the frequencies we are missing. My greatest bass experience in my life was getting picked up. My car broke down. Somebody's car broke down. I think it was my buddy Scott with his Cutlass. His 88 Cutlass broke down. So we called this kid Joe from a fucking payphone. And he came and he picked us up in his Blazer, S10 Blazer, blue and white. And we got in the fucking car and he goes, the back seat was out. We had to sit on the speaker box. Guys, it was an 18-inch Kicker Stillwater box. I have hearing damage to this day because of that speaker box. I swear to God. The reason why I'm not a police officer today, imagine me a police officer. Yeah. I went for the test like a fucking Yahoo. And I failed the hearing test. And I want to call up Joe and I want to thank him. Because to become a cop in New York City, I might as well, the first day you drag in your own coffin. You're like, where do I put this? I know I'm going to need it over the course of the next 20 years. So I'll put it next to my locker. Being a cop in the city, it's like RoboCop. You remember when they come in and they take the sticker off the locker? Burns, yeah, he's done. This is Murphy. That's his new locker. He literally blew my eardrums out with that fucking speaker box. It was painful. I wanted to get home and get out. But I will tell you this: there is a healing power in bass, and we've gotten away from it now. Bass speakers are different now. We have these sundown speakers, sundown, and the new circuitry on amplifiers that make them astronomically powerful. But subwoofers are different today than they were back then. These subwoofers back in the day are super efficient, okay? I mean, we're talking about SPLs 95. That's what I liked about JBLs. That's why I was such a JBL GT series guy. Because their SPL was the highest among the other speakers. Oh, I knew that. So they were super sensitive. That means they were super efficient. That means they needed less power for the amount of speaker that you had, which means you could save money on amplifiers. That's what nobody knew back then. So everybody wanted Rockford Fosgate punches. That's right, but you got to run them with more power because they weren't as sensitive as the JBLs. But their efficiency led to a different kind of bass. These had a punchy bass, for lack of a better word. That's right. There was that kick drum punch. You listen to these sundown speakers, okay, and I've heard them. When you hear a kick drum, it's blah. It's like somebody's throwing chocolate pudding at the wall. They don't have that tightness. They have those heavy magnets, and they need a tremendous amount of power to move them. They're very sluggish. Don't get me wrong. They kick out an amazing amount of bass, but it's a different type of bass. Car audio has changed, much like the audio in your home has changed. Back in the day, they had hi-fis. Hi-fis, super sensitive paper cones, and doped suspensions, okay, which would create the most precise voice and percussion sounds. People, you don't listen to hi-fi anymore. You listen to these fart pills and these standalone, horrible standalone speakers, Bluetooth speakers. Audio is, it's fascinating to me how audio hasn't gotten better through the years. It's deteriorated since the 1940s. It's deteriorated. Okay? The horn tweeter is virtually gone. And you needed that horn tweeter for those crisp highs. Do you understand? I'm not saying the horn tweeter is gone. I know that they still utilize a horn tweeter these days, but not really as much as they used to. So here we go. There's a reason. Okay, the big theory is that the church bells were taken down, right? Because the church bells had healing properties. I think we've all heard this. I don't know does anybody else stay on TikTok for their entire lives? There's this conspiracy theories that the church bells were all taken down throughout Europe. And you know what? They've been taken down in America too. And I can't figure out why. Is it the cost of running them? What's it cost to pull a fucking string? No, obviously they have to be actuated. But church bells are, and I'm going to give you my example. I can remember I used to get out of work at my old bakery, and it was in every town USA. When you would work, this old bakery was from the 1930s, and nothing ever changed in that place. And I remember walking out on a snowy night, and it's dark, I'm just getting out of work, and there's no real traffic on the road because it was back in the 90s. Now it's bumper-to-bumper traffic everywhere you go. And the bakery was across from the church. So I remember I sat on a pile of boxes next to the building. I mean, you could almost see this as a scene in like an HO scale train, where it's like the town, and there's the bum sitting on the boxes, and I had my cigarettes. And I pull out a cigarette, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden the church bells go off. And this is back when, the church here in Lindenhurst actually had church bells. And I can remember the calming feeling. Maybe it was the nicotine. No, but I remember that it might have been the cigarette. Now that I'm thinking about it. But I will say, I remember the overwhelming calmness and sense of peace with the church bell going off and the snow falling, and I'm by myself and I'm having a cigarette, and I just had a hard day's work. And I remember that feeling. And boy, did it feel good. And then I would walk home, of course, in the snow, backwards, with bread bags on my feet. No, I'm kidding. And yeah. So I said to myself, you know what? There's something, when I do hear church bells, it's something that grabs you inside. I don't know what it is, but it's very calming. I can remember when we went up to Oswego. I mean, this is upstate New York. These are old towns. These are towns built in the 1800s. I mean, the house that we were staying at was 1890 something. It was built. Okay, and there's something lurking in those walls, and you walk through the town, and you hear church bells go off, and you're like, you feel grounded. I don't know how to explain it. Is that a conspiracy? I can't tell you. I can't help the way I feel. Or is it the frequency of the bell? Does the frequency of a bell, or frequencies in general, do they have healing properties? And maybe that's why I was so attracted to the sound of bass. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Rockford Fosgate Punch Original Series 18-inch. Guys, they're dirty, okay? They need a good wash. I mean, they're dusty. Okay? But they're here. They're intact, guys. This was a serious magnet back in the day. I know they're beat up. They're beat up, but they will work, guys. They're not crunchy. They are not crunchy. The suspensions work beautiful. Everything's glued. Everything's intact. They will work. Because let me tell you something. Rockford Fosgate put out a high-quality product. And let me tell you something. If you don't think that's a big magnet, back in the day, I want you to understand something. 18s always made magnets look small. And I know the magnets today, they look like, I don't know, a fucking Olympic discus. But this was a huge magnet back in the day. And I'm looking in there, and I'm not even lying to you. That's got to be a 2.5-inch voice coil. Okay? And back in the day, that was a whopper. There's probably, the 15s probably shared the same magnet. Because back in the day, 15s, 18s would share the same magnet. It was an anomaly to have an 18-inch speaker back then. It really was. So imagine, I didn't even know they made these in an 18. Okay, I just figured this out a few days ago. So imagine a pair, the box that rocks with 18s. The 15s were unbelievable. But 18s? Come on, man. A Zeus amp? For this, you might need the Colossus. Because as we all know, as the surface area of the cone increases, the power necessary to, to make the speaker work goes up like exponentially. You go from an 18 to a 21, it's like you need 1,000 more watts. Guys, I'm going to name this show, like, I don't know, things that make my boner pop. Because that's something that makes my boner pop. These are, I don't know what I'm going to do with these guys. I don't have space for them. I don't have a vehicle to put them in. This is really a dumb purchase. I mean, I might as well just throw them in the garbage because I really can't do anything with them. But I couldn't help myself, and it was $60. What am I supposed to do? Say no? I remember sitting there when I saw them, and I said, nobody else knows. Nobody else knows. I said, because I could see through that grill, and I have that image burnt in my mind. The punch, that symbol. I said, nobody else knows. So this is a relic from let's say, we're going to say 1992. It might even be earlier than that. No, let's just say about 1992, 1993. All right? We're talking about the Snoop Dogg years. Yeah, the Chronic. That type of thing. I mean, I wasn't really into West Coast music back then. I would have put some Cool G rap through these things. I would have put some BDP. I would have put some Big Daddy Kane through this motherfucker. Back in the day. Even Wu-Tang Clan was a little too much for me. Like, Wu-Tang Clan was like Slayer for heavy metal guys. Slayer was like, geez, I can't listen to that shit around my mother. That was like what Wu-Tang Clan was for rap. But I would listen to a little fucking ODB on it. Who didn't like a little ODB, right? I'm the one-man army A-son. I never been tooken out. I keep MCs looking out. I drop science like Crosby dropping babies. Enough to make a nigga go crazy. Enough to make and shake and break your ass. Rhymes I make all better than tasty cakes. I know. Anyhow. Yeah, man. I mean, I'd love to bump these. Let me tell you something right now. You need a truck. You need a truck for these. You know what I'm saying? The whole deal was to build the box. And that's what I used to do. My whole thrill was building boxes. I used to build all sorts of different boxes. Isobaric boxes. Bandpass boxes. Guys, I would go. This is working out of my father's garage, using corded drills. Back in the day, I remember I thought I was the king because I would have one drill that would have the drill bit in it, and my father had two drills, so the other drill had the countersinking bit in it, and then there was another drill gun for driving screws. The old metal, I don't know who made it, Black & Decker maybe. It was just a screw driving gun. Now you got it all. I got it all right here. You know, and you got bits that countersync and drill at the same time now. So I can do it all cordlessly. But back in the day, you know, you were fighting the cords around, we're wrapping around everywhere. I still love building speaker boxes. And, you know, there was no real science behind it. You know, I tried to get the cubic feet right and all that. But it was really about just testing. And you would put some boxes in and they would sound awesome. And then you would build another box and it would sound like shit. And the whole thing is, people would build sealed boxes. Sealed boxes never made sense to me. Sealed boxes were also very inefficient. They needed a lot of amplifier. Because you need a lot of power to fight a speaker in a sealed box. It can't breathe. So ultimately, I would build a sealed box and test it first, and then cut a port into it. I would always cut a port into it, and I never had a speaker that didn't sound better with the port cut into it. I never had a speaker that sounded better sealed. Let's put it that way. Guys, are you bored to death? That was just a little something different today because I don't know. I was inspired. I bought these for you guys, believe it or not. And I'm not just sitting there, you know, blowing air up your skirt. I really mean that. I bought that to share that with you guys. I said, this is something that I want to talk about with the viewers. So yeah, you're welcome. Guys, do you realize you just tuned into the greatest video game program in the history of human civilization? And you better believe that. With a 4K face! We'll see you next time. Guys, have you not gone to the Patreon page? Okay, I understand the link doesn't work. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's YouTube torturing me again. Just go to Patreon, search for Bithead 1000. You'll see my face, my big yap hanging open. Like this, all right? Shoot $1 in there, okay? I don't get paid on my YouTube videos. I get like this much. Enough to put air in the tires of my car. We drop the ads for you animals. Do you understand? I go monetize, and then I go down below and I said, do I put in video ads? I said, I'm not doing that to my viewers. Out of here. So drop $1 on Patreon for Christ's sake. Oh my God, I try to hook you guys up. Hook me up. Anyhow, we got a show on Patreon, I don't know, 85 shows. We got 85 advices programs. 85! Okay, with the average runtime of a half an hour to, sometimes we go 45 minutes. It's the advices program. Email me. Put advices in the header. Ask me anything. I mean, what's the matter? Your dick doesn't get hard? I'm an expert. I'm an expert. I hate to admit that, but I'm an expert. That's it. Write me. A lot of people write me. They got, oh my God, problems. You want to talk about problems? Check this out. Or I'm going to take my castor oil today, and I'm going to take a shit a mile long. It's something to get excited about. Let's face it. We're Americans. We're fat, lazy sacks of shit. Yeah, man. This is meatballology. And you better be, hey, listen, fuckface. If this is a cordless tool, a cordless angle grinder, it's the key to the city. You can cut your way into anything. A safe, a suitcase, a fence, a lock. Are you shitting me? That's what I'm talking about. Guys, we also have the You're the Boss videos up there. I mean, we got, what you do is you write into me. You tell me my teeth are crooked, I'm a snaggle-toothed ginger. You insult me. It's fun. I don't care. I got thick skin. Hit me. As hard as you want. And some people hit me, and sometimes they hurt my feelings. But that's okay. Hit me hard. And then I'll play the game that you want me to play. And then that's the name of it. You're the boss. We follow it. You're the boss. You tell me what to do, and I do it. And we have a great time, just sometimes discovering new games. Sometimes I think people like to torture me. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it's great fun. Woo! All right, guys. Patreons, thank you for the support. We'll see you next time.